So on the issue of sealing people in hell, love must come from justice. When Jesus said in the Bible to love your enemies, he was talking about a love derived from justice and righteousness. Isaiah 5:7, the Lord looked for righteousness and justice, but saw bloodshed and violence. In Revelations, how long, sovereign and true, before you avenge our blood on the inhabitants of the earth? Okay, paraphrasing. So when I look around, I see people, they look like pretty decent people. There's a guy, I don't know if it showed up on the rear view mirror, but he, looks like he's walking a kind of way. It seems like he doesn't want any problems. There's a difference between average and good. Jesus said, why do you call me good? No one is good but God alone. There's a difference between good and great, mighty, a mighty one, a righteous, mighty one of God. No one is truly mighty unless they're a slave to righteousness, to God. Righteousness determines what I'm going to do. I see the children, right? I see people, and I used to, when I trained, I'd go through the motion of shaking people's hand at the end, giving people's hugs. Imagine average people. I have some kind of gold chain or something. I'd put on a little kid's neck. I'd rub his head and say, hey, security guard, follow this guy home. Make sure he gets home safe. He doesn't get robbed. Because I care about people. You know what I'm saying? I come from a long line of people who care about people as the story goes. And I'm not quite sure it's true, to be fair, but I think there's a lot of truth to it. In my village back in Nigeria, you could leave money on the ground and nobody would take it. It'd still be there when you come back for it. But if you left a book, they would take it and they'd return it to where they found it after they were done reading it. People were thirsty for knowledge. My particular martial art line, thirsty for righteousness. I care. I see who you are. I make rational and logical assumptions and conclusions and judgments, discernments. For one, I'm not a racist person, okay? I've fallen in love with a great many women, very many Chinese, white, one Greek female I was supposedly engaged to. I guess she didn't take it as seriously as I do. Ethiopian, African American, Hispanic, Islander. There isn't a race as commonly seen in California that I probably didn't feel like I was in love with growing up at some point in my life. I do what is best, what is right, and what is best is championing God's argument, which is righteousness and justice. So even if you don't believe in God, there's room to explore this righteousness and justice. Should one die for righteousness and justice? Should one put righteousness and justice above their family? Say, no, if their family isn't willing to die or accept being persecuted because someone in their family did a righteous act or made a righteous decision, they're not really a sound family in the first place, are they? Love must be derived from righteousness and justice. If you're then to argue that love doesn't exist, you must at least argue that you must at least acknowledge that morals and righteousness exist. If you don't think it exists, then should people be able to torture you for no reason whatsoever? Why not? If there's no right or wrong, then there's no righteousness. If there's no right or wrong, why do we have laws? Why not just to keep people together? Do these things not matter? So you don't, Mr. Right, treat her right. These things don't matter. Did you just say these things? Okay, I live by these things. I wasn't always perfectly living by these things. It has to do with my martial arts system, a system based on righteousness and justice with the full intention of martyring myself. When I was younger, I used to think of myself as, hey, one day I'm going to go to Nigeria. I'm going to fight against the Muslims. They did all these horrible things to my people during the Nigerian Civil War, and I'm going to die fighting against them, and they're going to know, and the heavens are going to know that there's a God in my tribe, in my family, that is fighting them still, and that they're in the wrong, especially when you look at it, who, what, when, where, how, why. When I do it, I was always willing to die. I have a song going back to 98 or so where I said, my doom is soon. Okay? And they want a ball, they ignore the deeper call. Y'all through stressing me. Okay? And I said, the white man will never conform me because I perceived, and rightfully so, that there's this global structure trying to conform me to their system. A system of injustice, a system of scientific racism, a system of not giving people the rightful place, a highly sexualized system with porn, with prostitutes and escorts and sex cults and corporate sex culture. A system that stigmatizes the poor after exploiting them for generations, mentally, romantically, financially, psychologically, okay, sexually, okay, physically, use and abuse, a system of injustice, a system of unjust ice. They don't care about the guy, the man under the sun. Nothing is new under the sun. They don't care about people like me. A system of depravity, of decadence, a system of abhorrent policies and unforgivably evil behaviors. A system that victimized many people, and I see the looks on their faces. I see it when I walk down the street. I see it in the books that I read. I see it on the news. I say, I don't want to be on the side of those people who victimize these people and think you have to accept evil. I'm going to go to some nice neighborhood and it's stupid. Okay? If you don't understand why injustice for one is an injustice for all, you're not human. If you don't understand why you're better off dying for injustice than trying to live your life and have fun, you're a dumb motherfucker. I shouldn't have to explain these things. But I do have to explain these things. To him who much is given, much is expected. I was given the biggest heart of all from what I tell, and I do believe that to the fullest. I was given the inclination to do righteousness, to make sure that justice was delivered. I come from somewhere where people make sure that justice is delivered. And that source is going to make sure justice is delivered. And the Lord will deliver all of you sinners into my hands. And I will do what is exactly right, because in my very soul, that's who I am. Thank you.